Hello, my name is John, and this is my good buddy Andy, and you're listening to the Packers Blitz podcast, the podcast done by two diehard Packer fans who survived the dark times of the 1980s Packers football and lived to talk about it. This podcast is dedicated to the world's greatest fans, Packer fans. So this is show 50. Oh, 50. Woo, yeah, woo, 50.
Awesome, John. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you, my friend. Can you believe we're already here at 50 shows? And the great thing is, before I cry, I shed a little tear. I can't believe it that we're already here. We've had so much fun through the ups and downs of the Packers. And I love doing my show with my good buddy Andy. And it makes the ups and downs easier when we're talking about Packers. We've said it before, it's therapy for us.
It is.
And so Andy, 50 shows, buddy. What do you think?
Yeah, 50 Packers Blitz episodes, 50 episodes of us giving you true Packer fans straight talk. We won't always be right, especially about the outcome of last Sunday's game.
Yes.
But that's okay. I will speak for John and myself on this. We love the Green Bay Packers. They're our team and always will be. We love being diehard fans of the greatest NFL franchise with the greatest fans. And most of all, we love doing this podcast in a way that is all about giving you the facts, giving you honest opinions, and maybe, make you all fall in love with the Packers even more. So, John, any thoughts on that?
Well said, my friend.
Okay,
no,
awesome.
And they've been here with us. People have been listening from the beginning. Thank you so much. And people are listening now. Maybe you're trying out this show. Understand, again, we're not professionals. We're not in a big studio. We're not having ESPN back us. We are just two guys just talking football, having a great time, living through the ups and downs. And yes, we're going to make mistakes, like Andy saying Joe Kelly instead of Jim Kelly.
Yep.
Buffalo was quarterback in the 80s.
Yep.
Me saying Tucker, I don't what the hell I'm saying.
Tyler Kraft or Tucker Kraft or yeah.
So I screw up his name.
Yeah.
We screw
Christian
up
Watson. Christian Watson's from North Dakota.
North
Dakota State.
I
think that's like Division 2, isn't it, or something?
That's Division 2.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, yes, and sometimes you're going to hear clicks and pops, and you're going to hear pauses, and you're going to hear weird stuff.
Yeah.
Funny comments people said about us, which I think is really funny. That just came in today. On YouTube, someone made fun of my hairline, and it wasn't Andy. So I love that. Make fun of my hairline. That's okay. That's okay. And one person, and I'm sorry, Andy, but one person said you sound constipated sometimes, and I don't know where that's coming from.
I get that. I get that a lot at home, so that could be the case.
So between
that's funny.
Between my hairline going back and
my constipation. Yep. That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, John. That's funny.
It is.
I'm glad our fans brought that up too. They need to do that. Yeah. They need to poke fun at us, and that's fine. That's
fine. We're old dudes. We can take it, man. We're not in our 20s anymore, where we're like,
or our 30s or our 40s.
So again, thank you so much, Packer fans. And again, I always end up every episode saying this, but please support us. Please subscribe, hit 5 stars. Make sure YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to Packers Blitz on your favorite hosting site, please, give us comments. Hey, make fun of me that I've gained weight. I don't care. That's all right. I'm trying, buddy.
Mark Murphy, John wants to hear from you. So make sure,
Yes, Mark Murphy, me and you are going to get a couple toupees. But that's okay. We love that, as long as as long as your comments are in good taste and good natured, hey, that's fine. Andy and I are loving that. So again,
It's a family show.
it's a family show. So please, like I said, rate us 5 stars, subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, give comments, hackersblitz80@gmail.com.
So yeah,
You
I did want to mention one
go
thing. Like if he thinks I'm constipated, he should listen to Mark Murphy, right? So okay,
yes,
moving on.
moving on. So
Yes,
we have a new thing. We like to try new things here on Packers Blitz because it's our podcast. We can do whatever the heck we want.
that's
So
right.
one thing after the game, which we'll get into, yes, we won, thank goodness, but we'll talk about that soon. So one of the things I said, let's have a question and answer called Ask Andy. So this is a new thing. We'll try it out from time to time, see what you guys think. We're always willing to try stuff. So my first question, Andy, after Sunday's stellar performance, do you think Jordan Love is the next Packers franchise QB? Andy, what do you think?
My response, if I can speak. Okay, so the jury is still out. We've kind of said this before. I personally will not make an assessment until after the season is over. Uh, Err on the side of caution, fanatics out there, Packers fans, and that's what fans are, fanatics. Packer fans need to realize that Jordan Love is a work in progress, so to
Yeah.
speak. The
Mhm.
full body of his work is incomplete. You cannot
Mhm.
make a rash judgment based upon one somewhat stellar game against a Chargers defense that is, at times, one of the worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
Let me now read you all a poem that kind of
Ooh.
indicates whether or not I think, if I can speak, I think Jordan Love may be the Packers quarterback of the future. John, I'm
Mm.
going to take a quick swig of something here. I won't say what it
You
is.
take your swig, and now it is Andy's
Yes,
poem
poem.
corner.
What? And my poem is titled "What I Love."
Oh, what I love.
I love my wife of almost 30 years,
Mm.
Suzanne. I love my sons, Nolan and Zach. I love my soon to be daughter in law, Carissa. I love Zach and Carissa's dogs, Bravo and Irwin. I love the Green Bay Packers. I love Brett Lorenzo Favre, gunslinger, Iron Man, playmaker, football lover. I love Aaron Charles Rodgers, open heart surgeon, dissecting defenses, brain surgeon, smartly cerebral in nature, rocket scientist with his skill set and accuracy. So, John, that was my poem. That is my poem. Who did I omit? Who did I omit in that?
I don't
What I
know. You
love.
love me? I don't know if you love me.
Well, I could have kept going on, John. You know I love you. I said that last
Okay, I
podcast, or
know.
was that the
There
podcast
you
before? We love
go.
each other.
Yeah, you betcha, buddy. How about let's see who else. Well, not Vince Lombardi. That's a given. How about Charles? Did you already say Charles Woodson? Or, I mean, Charles
Well,
Woodson.
I
Yeah.
love Charles Woodson. I think he's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Okay, so
Um,
the one person in my poem, what I love, the perfect person to put in there would have been Jordan Love.
mm-hmm.
So the question is, why did I omit him? John, do you have any reason why I omitted him?
I don't know what I
Well,
don't know.
I omitted him at the moment is because Jordan Love, what makes Jordan Love special? I don't know what that is yet. And
Mm-hmm.
so once I love whatever that is that's special about him, then I will put him in my poem. As of now, I can't put him in the poem, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of given everybody out there, indication of where I stand with him being the franchise quarterback indirectly from that poem
Yeah.
that I just wrote, because he's not in there, right?
Yeah.
So what makes him a franchise quarterback, like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers? What do we love about him? What, we want him to be our quarterback, right? If we really want him to be our quarterback, he's special and whatnot, then you would love him for certain characteristics or what he does for the team, what he does on the playing field, right? I couldn't come up with a whole lot of things yet.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with that. So John, do you have any comments on that? And does that answer the
No.
first question that you asked me
Yeah.
about? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I just really quickly. I think Jordan Love showed me yesterday is that yes, he can come back, and he has showed that a couple times, but just when we could have this a whole different episode, but just really quickly, what made Aaron Rodgers was right. He had the it factor. Made
Yes.
Brett Favre,
Juice.
whatever, like
Juice.
juice, it, whatever.
Plenty.
In our past episode, I believe we talked about, I think it was episode 47 and 48. It could have been 49. But anyway, check those episodes out. Andy and I both agree. What's the it? What's the juice? What's the, like I was watching just really quickly. This is a Packer podcast, but I was watching highlights of CJ Stroud with the Houston Texans.
Uh-huh.
And does he have it? I mean,
Yes.
he's and if you don't believe me and you're not, I don't care about Houston, Texas. It doesn't matter. Go and watch it. He has it. And will that stay? I don't know. I think there's two definitions of it. One, can he do it consistently over and over and over, not only in a game, a season, and years? Like Patrick Mahomes is going to eventually say, I'm the best because I've done it for 15 years and I've won 8 Super Bowls in those 15 years. Okay. All right. Who's to argue with him? Right. But right now, I just don't know.
Yeah. I'll chime in for a second, John.
Yeah,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
CJ Stroud, uh, again, they're looking at him as a possible even MVP candidate,
Yeah,
rookie of the year for sure.
yeah,
And this is his first year.
yeah.
Jordan Love has been learning, has had some tutelage from the best, Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
And this is his fourth season
Yeah.
again. And so again, you've got a great player like CJ Stroud that just comes right in. You had a player like we played last weekend, Justin Herbert. His first game, he got thrust in there because right before the game started, it might have even been during the game, he got thrust in there because one of the players that was in there, the quarterback, I can't remember his name. He's hurt again for the Giants. He punctured his lung because some of the
Tyrod Taylor.
because one of the staff actually went in there as trying to do something and they punctured his lung.
Whoops.
So basically, he was thrust into a situation where he had to play Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. He was thrust into a situation where right in the game. I mean, can you believe that? With no preparation, and he played phenomenal that game. I watched that entire game. So all I'm saying is there's some players, like John just said, that have the it factor. One of them is Justin Herbert. One of them is CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
As of now. But
Yeah, as of now.
we'll see about his sophomore campaign too.
Yeah, we'll see that.
With
So
CJ Stroud. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on to question number 2.
Sure.
Question number 2 with Ask Andy. Is Matt LaFleur going to keep his job?
100% yes.
Really? Okay, tell me.
Well, first of all, his successful winning record is undeniable, irrefutable. He himself has seemed to have turned a corner,
Hmm.
and he has seemed to find a way to connect better with his young players, especially on offense, and get his side of the ball right. It's taken a little bit of time, but at least he's worked on it. It seems like it's getting better. Um, he will keep his job. He will keep it by firing some of his assistants, I hope, that will develop these young players and put them in situations to succeed. So if he fires some of those coaches and gets some new blood in there, new coaches in there that can relate to the younger players, I think that's going to help him succeed and help the team succeed as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, the team has shown enough growth so far to give Matt LaFleur another season. They are in the playoff hunt, John. I'm about to go through some stats.
Yeah.
We had like the best week ever when it was in regards to the teams that were vying with us for positions for the playoffs in the NFC. So we'll talk about
Yeah.
that a little bit later in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
We were.
So John, any comment on that? Do you agree with me on that?
Um.
I don't think there's a chance he gets
Uh,
fired. I don't think there's a chance.
I'm not going to say 100%. I'm going to say. I'm going to say 95%. And the
Okay.
reason why is because, man, I just have a feeling that Goody, and I don't know the guy, but I think Goody doesn't like that his players that he has in there are not developing fast enough. And that is not on LaFleur. What's on LaFleur, which we've already talked about numerous times, is getting everybody on the same page, right? These ridiculous penalties, and what happened? The first play of the game,
Yeah.
Keyshawn Nixon gets it down to midfield. By the way, there's a face mask and the refs missed it. Stupid.
Yep.
Anyway, gets down there, and then guess what? One of our players, and I can't remember the guy. He's
He
the
got
special
cut.
teams player. Pardon
We'll
me?
talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Dallin
And
love it.
when he
Yeah.
came over to the side, now this is kind of where I say it's, why 95%? Because as soon as that player came over to the sidelines, LaFleur was in his grill. I mean, he was like, "What are you doing? You should know." But you could see he was using colorful language. But you could see him just looking at, and the player was like, I didn't do it. I blah, blah, blah. And yeah, he did. I mean, when you look back at it, the guy was covering his ass, and that's okay. You can do that. But what I liked about that is he's holding people accountable. Okay.
Yes.
If you like, as a dad, we'll use a dad here. If you do not hold your children accountable, they're going to go out in life and get the shit kicked out of them. All right. And me and Andy and my buddy Kurt, we're all good fathers because you know why? Because I know we hold our kids accountable. I know we do because we talk to each other and they're like, "Huh, man, I wouldn't," we kind of like, I don't know if I let him do that. They're like, okay, well, this is what I said, or this is what, my child said, or my son said, so that is a key to a good coach, holding people accountable. And we've talked about that in other past episodes. Hey, if
Yeah.
you can play, you're going to play. If you're going to make mistakes and be part of the problem, you're not going to play. Okay. Simple as
Or you're
that.
cut.
Or you're cut. Right.
Yep.
So I only reason, like I said, is 95% because I just think Goody has in the back of his mind, people get enamored with young assistants, and like the offensive coordinator at Detroit, he is like the belle of the ball right now. He's the hot girl at the school because everyone's looking at him because the Detroit Lions are like, they're good. I mean, they're
They're
really
eight and
good.
two.
Yeah, and they came down from 14 points, I believe, in the fourth quarter. Now it's against the Bears, but still, 14 points in the fourth quarter to win that game. That's still impressive. I'll just say that's impressive, and that's fine. So everybody's looking at that guy. And if you don't think Goody's going, that hot girl looks good to me. LaFleur's a little bit aged, got some wrinkles on him. I'm not sure if I want him
hire
back.
Detroit's offensive coordinator then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, here's the thing. If you do that, you're starting over again. Jordan Love's got to learn a whole new offensive plan. Your offensive guys got to learn all new offense again. The players got to get used to the coaches. The coaches got to get used to the players.
Yep.
No.
And how has that turned out for Justin Herbert?
Yeah.
He's had several head coaches.
Yeah.
He's had several offensive coordinators, a revolving carousel for him. And that has not helped him.
It has not helped him
Succeed at all.
And it doesn't help anybody. No. If you're on your fourth coordinator and you've been in the NFL 5 years, I'm going to guess that you're probably stunted at quarterback. That's why Mahomes is still an excellent quarterback, because he's had Andy Reid forever. And Andy Reid has called his plays forever. So that's why they're still good. And sure, Bieniemy, he's in Washington right now, but Andy Reid is the guy who stirs the coffee over there. Come on, let's be honest. And once Andy Reid goes, that's where you're going to see what type of quarterback Mahomes is. That's where you're going to see if he's still upper echelon. And I don't know if he is or he's going to be, but that's kind of a be careful. So anything else before I move to the next customer?
Yeah. And the Chargers, if you can believe this, John, have the same record that we do. And a lot of prognosticators, a lot of so-called experts had them going deep into the playoffs this year. And they're sitting at 4-6 and looking outside looking in. And actually we're in better position than they are to make the playoffs at 4-6, which I'll get into later. So
by the way, the Jets have the same record as us too.
Of course they do.
They have a worse.
Are you sure they are 4-7 though? Are they 4-6 or 4-7? I don't know.
It doesn't matter. There's still
doesn't matter.
Wins.
Yeah, they are.
Right?
Yeah.
But
you won't see Rodgers this year. You won't see him, even though they said.
By the way, Salah, why does he look like Lex Luthor? If you're a nerd like me, I'm sorry. He looks like Lex Luthor, fighting the Justice League. Every time I see him, I go, why does he look like Lex Luthor? Anyway.
Yeah.
So let's get to question 3.
Okay.
Because of, oh my God. And because of injuries to 2 of our running backs, Aaron Jones knee, which I haven't heard, and Emmanuel Wilson shoulder. I haven't heard if they're out for the season. AJ Dillon is lone healthy running back. So what do we do at running back, buddy? Andy, what do we do?
Well, it's already happening. The situation was handled today by Brian Gutekunst, our GM.
All right.
Decisive. He re-signed, a veteran running back, James Robinson, to the practice squad. I think they just gotten rid of him on November.
Yeah, we just cut him.
He's back. The Packers already now have 2 more running backs, Robinson and Ellis Merriweather. I was going to look into Ellis Merriweather. I have no idea who he is. He probably won't even see the field, but who knows? Sorry, you'll have to look him up, John. Breaking news, John. Breaking news. You can do the beep. This just in. The Green Bay Packers signed running back Patrick Taylor. John, you were asking about Patrick Taylor. He's back to the active roster off of New England's practice squad and cut safety Dallin Lovett. By the way, Lovett was the one with a holding and an unsportsmanlike penalty, both 2 penalties on the same play during the opening kickoff against the Chargers. Instead of a 30-yard return by Keyshawn Nixon and great field position on our opening drive, the Packers started, at I think it was the 5-yard line. Again, thank you, Goody. decisive. If you have stupid penalties, and that swing momentum, you're cut. Decisive. John, I love it. I love it. Send a message to the team. Be smart, be a good teammate, perform on the field, and most importantly, represent the Packers organization. That's probably the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
And he got cut, John.
Nice.
Any comments on that? So Goody took care of the running back situation.
Yeah.
So I got
really quickly, Ellis Merriweather. He played football at Massachusetts. He has been with the New Orleans Saints practice squad, and now he's on us practice squad, I guess.
So continuing on with my explanation of what Goody's been up to with the Thanksgiving Day game on tap against the Lions coming up in just a few days, the Packers could choose to utilize their 2-game day elevations. Then that way they won't be forced to officially add anyone to the 53-man roster, which in turn would force them to cut a player or two. So they did cut Dallin Leavitt. They got Taylor in. They could make 2 more additions if they wanted to without losing anybody off their roster. So that one of those 2 players might be another running back, John. Maybe it'll be Robinson. Who knows? Maybe it'll be Merriweather. I don't know either. They don't need 4 running backs. My guess is they might choose somebody. If Merriweather can play special teams, maybe they would add him. I don't know. But yeah. According to Paul Brettel of USA Today, against a fierce Lions pass rush that bullied the Packers O-line in week 4, pressuring Love on 50% of his drawbacks, having a run game to lean on will be a must this time around if the offense is going to find success. A capable rushing attack can help open up opportunities in the pass game and help the offense out of predictable 2nd and 3rd and long situations. End quote. So we're going to need to run the ball, John. So what Goody did was the right thing. So hopefully that answers your question too. What would I do though? What would I do at running back?
What would Andy do?
This is what I would do. Number 1, I would not resign A.J. Dillon unless it's on a very team-friendly deal.
Okay.
He will be the lead back on Thursday. He needs to prove to me and to everybody else, by the way, that he can be the one. For the Packers to win, he's gonna have to put up a big stat line to the tune of say 25 rushing attempts, 100 yards, and a touchdown or 2. That's asking a lot, I know, but that's the first thing. He's going to have to put up or shut up, basically, in this game. We need him, right? Second thing.
Yes, we do.
What would I do? Even though I love Aaron Jones, I love Aaron Jones and love that he loves the Packers organization, I would cut ties with him. And this is why. In running back years, he's old. He has proven time and time again that he's a turnover machine, a turnover prone in the postseason, and he's too pricey. Even though he took a pay cut, he's still too pricey. So that's the second thing I would do. Third thing I would do, I would draft some running backs, of course. One with speed and breakaway ability, which we would have to probably use a lot of draft capital on that. Yeah. One, a bruiser, great in short yardage situations and at the goal line. That's supposed to be Dillon, by the way. And I would do that in the 2024 draft. So if you pivot off of Dillon, then you would have to get that, that bruising running back, right? The one with the tree trunks for legs that he's supposed to be using.
Yeah.
So again, those players are not going to have much mileage on the tires, so to speak. Cheap for the short term. In fact, I would devote probably 65 to 70% of the Packers draft capital on offensive skill position players and offensive linemen, especially the left tackle position. John and I have talked about that in previous episodes.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have to address that. John is spot on with that, and I agree with him 100%.
Yeah.
We might be able to get by with our right tackle. We might be able to move somebody like Zach Tom to center, shift our line around, but we have to address the left tackle position. Super Bowl champions have usually like a top 5
Right.
left tackle. And that
Mhm.
is one position that you have to have. And unfortunately, we know who our left tackle is, and we know that he probably won't be back. So
No.
that's what I would do about the running back situation. John, any comments on that?
No, man, I love it. I love
Okay.
it. So,
Okay.
next question, ask Andy, is there any chance for the Packers to get to 500?
Realistically, no, John. There are 17 games in a season. Statistically, it's almost mathematically impossible to be 500
Yeah.
unless the Packers end up 8-1. The odds are against them to have that exact record, right? I'm trying not to be snotty, John. I know what you meant. You
I
meant
know,
like
I
eight,
know.
8-9, nine
I
and eight.
should have
Fine,
said, like,
kind of
a
in the
winning
middle,
record.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So the answer actually to your question is yes. And here's why. You guys are not going to believe this. Packer fans out there, Packer Blitz fans, listen up. Yes, the Packers have a chance to be 9-8 and still make the
Woo!
playoffs. Okay. The Packers are 4-6. John?
Yep.
I thought I lost you for a second. So the Packers are 4-6. The Packers close out the season against the New York Giants, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Carolina Panthers, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Chicago Bears, which
Yeah.
have a combined record of, as of this taping or this broadcast or whatever
Yes.
this podcast, 17-36 combined records. Only one team of that group of NFC teams, all of them are NFC teams. Minnesota is 6-5, and they lost last week. They're the only ones with a winning record. The Packers would have to win all 5 of those games. Then the Packers would be 9-8. The NFC is so bad
So
that
bad.
that would get the Packers into the playoffs. Their record against NFC opponents would be 8-4. I'm factoring in another loss, by the way, to the Detroit on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Plus,
Okay,
they have
that.
already beaten the Rams and New Orleans, teams in which they're vying for a playoff spot with. So we already beat the Rams in New Orleans. So
And we should have
we're
beat the
actually,
Falcons.
and we should have beat the
Whatever.
Falcons, but we
Man,
didn't.
whatever.
So we would have been 9-3 against the NFC, wouldn't we have, John? So
Yes, we would have.
things in that respect are looking really good. We aren't going to win the division. That means we have to
No.
try to get into the playoffs any way we can. And that's by winning those last 5 games in a row, run the table, so to speak, almost like last year, John. Almost identical to last year, right?
Isn't that funny? That is so
Yeah,
funny.
that is funny. That is so funny. You're absolutely right. Yep. So, any more questions for me that you got for me, John? If
No,
any,
thank you, Andy.
okay.
You did great. You did a really great job. So, Packers won. Woo! 23-20 over the Los Angeles, San Diego Chargers. I don't care. I'm still saying that. So, do you want to do the keys to victory or should I? Do you need a break? Because then I can do that.
You're more than welcome if you want to, John. I think I'll take the keys to the victory, and maybe I'll let you pick
Okay.
up after that if that's all right
You
with you.
betcha, buddy.
So, okay, I'll let you talk about the upcoming game that we
Sounds
have
good.
against the Lions.
The Lions.
Arr. Right.
Ooh, scary.
So Packers win, right? 23-20 over the San Diego Chargers, we want to say, right?
Yes.
Yes, really want to say that, but it's the Los Angeles Chargers. So the keys to victory. Well, first thing, maybe it was the throwback uniforms from the 1950s that they wore. We should try that again and again and again, right, John?
Yeah, we should.
So second thing, running back AJ Dillon was involved in the pass game quite a bit, running with grit and determination after the catch. He made a few plays, like he was dragging people for like 10 yards. So did a really great job. And he had 4 catches for 32 yards. So I figured I'd mention him again. He's been really stepping up. He didn't do that all that great in the rushing game, but in the passing game he did. So that was pretty awesome. This one is really, really important. This was a key. Jaden Reed's star power was unleashed again. John loves Jaden Reed.
Love him.
John.
Love him.
As of 1 week ago, and as Packers senior writer Wes Hodgkowitz, I think it is, notes, this is a quote from him. Reed has 7 receptions of 30-plus yards this season, which ranks second in the NFL behind only Miami Dolphins MVP candidate Tyreek Hill. He's got 9, by the way. End quote. Reed still has 7 after this past week, and Tyreek now has 11 games in which 11 receptions in which he's had 30 yards or more. However, Jaden did have an explosive run over 30 yards, didn't he, John? 30-plus yard run for the touchdown, actually. So I count that. But yeah, he's second to Tyreek. I don't know if he still is after last game, but he was the game before after the Pittsburgh game. Yeah. So, I mean, he's in company with Tyreek Hill.
That's crazy.
Saying a lot. I know that is crazy. Well, this is crazy too. According to Christopher Klein of fansided.com, is a quote from him. Reed is not only catching the ball further downfield than his Green Bay contemporaries at 10.4 yards before catch per reception. So that's when he's getting the ball, 10.4 yards. But he's racking up yards after the catch, which is 4.4 yards after the catch per reception. That's yak. Reed averages more yards before the catch than Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase and A.J. Brown and CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, man. Those are marquee guys.
Mic drop. Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
Yes, that is unbelievable. He's in company with those great and awesome players. I know, exactly. What just happened?
Those record scratches. What?
In the Chargers win, he led the Packers with 46 yards rushing and added another 46 yards catching. That's pretty consistent, isn't it? It's pretty even. Matt LaFleur got him more involved in the run game, and he scored again on a long rushing touchdown on a reverse. By the way, Luke Musgrave took out 2 Charger defenders on 1 block. Did you see that? It's kind of like Lazard last year where he took out 3. I think that was in the Miami game.
Yeah, that was in the Miami game where he took down 3.
So he took out 2 defenders on the play to spring Reed down the sideline and around the corner. So that was pretty awesome. I figured I'd bring that up. So great job, Luke Musgrave. He's been awesome for us too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So another key to the victory, Dontavian Wicks got open several times over the middle and made some really clutch catches. John, I know that you said that he was just a backup or whatever. Maybe your thoughts have changed on that. However, he's playing like he may be more of a number 3 wide receiver and needs to be out on the field more, by the way, more than like a 4 or a 5 or somebody at the end of the bench. Wicks led the Packers in receiving yards with 91 yards.
Unbelievable.
John. So
yeah, that's unbelievable.
Another key, the 5th key that I came up with was Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson both had wide open touchdown grabs. Wide open. John, you know, I know, Packer fans know that doesn't happen a whole lot.
That
They
does
were
not happen.
wide open. Dobbs is
Yeah.
usually getting up with contested catches,
Woo.
and Christian can't succeed in that environment
No,
anymore.
no.
He could last year, but he stinks
Mm,
at it this year. So he was
mhm.
wide open
Yeah.
on that touchdown that he had. And supposedly, this is off the subject, but our tight ends coach or something came up with that little
Came up
wrinkle
with the play.
that
Yeah.
got him open. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. That having coaches that come up with game plans, and then
Yeah.
LaFleur listening to his coaches and
Yeah.
implementing it, and
That's
then
your job, buddy.
executing it,
Yes.
having the
Yes.
players execute the plan. So yeah, he was wide open. Sixth thing, the Packers. There's so many things. They did such a great job. The Packers D made stops in the red zone. The Chargers were the number 2. They were the second
Yeah, I
best
know. I
offense in the
know. Yeah.
NFL, scoring
Crazy.
touchdowns in the red zone. They were
Yeah.
down there several times and had to settle for field goals. They turned the ball over down there as well. A fumble by Austin Eckler. It was a good all-round team effort by the Packers defense. John, I saw really nobody that deserved a game ball on defense, but we'll talk about that in a second. If you have a
We'll talk
defensive
about
player
that.
of the game, let me know.
Mhm.
I looked at the stats, I
Kind
looked
of.
at the game.
Kind of.
Nobody jumped out to me as
No.
one player that deserved it more than the others. So
Yeah. Kind of.
seventh thing, the Packers took advantage of costly penalties and
Yes.
mistakes by the Chargers to continue drives.
Oh my
Give
God.
the Packers credit where credit is due. The
Yeah.
Chargers self-destructed. The
They
Packers
did.
won because they took advantage of that. That's what good teams do, actually.
Correct.
So I know they're
Correct.
4-6, but this is hopefully a turn for the better, that they're starting to take advantage of those situations and those mistakes by the opposing team, right? Now I've got the best for last, John. Jordan
Woo.
Love was
Go.
fantastic. He spread the love and hit 10 different pass catchers. 10. Yeah,
Yeah, there we
10.
go. There we go.
He was efficient and patient, again, just like last game. He was able to elude pressure and get off accurate throws. He was decisive on throws,
Yes.
especially over the middle,
Yes.
where
Yes.
you
Yes.
have to be. You can't screw around. You got to make sure you get the ball out, get them out when they're open, and then make sure you hit them with the pass. That he did that. He hit Wicks and Reed on big time throws over the middle. When he had time, he carved up the Chargers secondary for big plays.
Yeah.
Jordan put an end to the second longest active streak, 27 games without 300 yards of passing in the NFL prior to Sunday. So the Packers had a streak of 27 games, even with Aaron Charles Rodgers. It was his first game, Jordan Love's first game with 300 plus yards as a pro quarterback. He ended up with a magnificent stat line. John, listen to this. 27 of 40 passes. That's pretty good. At 8.1 yards per attempt, which is his high for him, for 322 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So I've got a Packers Blitz dual offensive players of the game. I've got Jordan Love and Jaden Reed, both. I couldn't decide.
Baby,
I
you
couldn't
looking
decide.
hot tonight.
Is that Adam Sandler?
I'm not really sure, but it's looking hot
Okay.
tonight, baby.
Okay. Yeah, so I've got both of them. If I was leaning probably more toward Jordan Love, but I couldn't really choose between them. So any comment on that? That's who I've got for the awesome.
I agree wholeheartedly. Now, can we bottle this and just take it to Detroit and further? Because this game really said to me, okay, all right, now, and here's the thing. At the Pittsburgh game, I was like, okay, we made some mistakes, and there were some crappy ref calls. By the way, side note, the referees are getting worse. They keep making some calls that you're just like, are you on this planet? But we'll talk about that whenever. They're better than the replacement refs, but not much. But what did we talk about on all these episodes that it's like ad nauseum to our fans out there, Packers Blitz and Packer fans? Growth. Okay? Growth. Just that's what we want to see. Win, lose, yeah, that's okay, but growth. And even though I'm not a fan of some of the announcers, uh, especially they stuck us with on Sunday. I couldn't remember who they were. But anyway, they did make sense for once. And they were saying decisive, decisive. And the announcer's main things were what Matt LaFleur said was if you're decisive and it works, great. If you're decisive and it doesn't work, the point is you're decisive. And that's what I saw from him. He would get back there, and on most plays, ball's gone. I threw it, and usually it worked out pretty well. There were a couple of times where he got sacked, where he was trying to go through some progressions and stuff, and you're just like,
Yep. 3 times
run.
he got sacked. You're
Yeah.
right.
So run or throw it out of bounds. That is
Get rid of
that
it.
is the thing,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Just run or throw it out of bounds, because that's what Herbert did, and he was crushing us with that. Where he would look, oh, nobody's open, I'm taking off. And he ran like a couple times for like 20 or 30 yards against us. And I'm like,
Yep.
yes. Look,
He had 8 carries
Go
for
ahead.
73
Yeah.
yards, John.
Yeah. So
He led them in rushing.
so you have a side note on there. So I don't want to steal
Yeah.
your thunder.
Before we go to that, I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you, before you answer my question, which I'm gonna ask you who you
Okay.
thought the Packers defensive player of the game was.
Okay.
Before you do that, I think I'm gonna convince you not to have one. So
Oh,
uh
there you go.
Keenan Allen had 10 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown. He could have had more than that. He had a few passes in
Yeah,
the
he
end zone
did.
or near the end zone that
Yeah,
plunked him
okay.
right in the chest, didn't it?
Yes.
And so he could have had an even better day. That's
Yeah.
one playmaker that you got to try to eliminate
Yeah.
as best you can, and they did not.
Yeah.
Like I just said, Justin Herbert ran 8 times for 73 yards. He never runs.
He
So
never
that means
runs.
they weren't even
Well,
containing him.
yeah.
He was
Yeah.
running wild.
Yeah.
He had 260 yards, a couple touchdowns. Justin Herbert did.
So
And then, another key cog is Austin Eckler. He looked slow. He had that run
did.
around the outside that we didn't set the edge. I think that was
Yeah.
Preston Smith or something. It's like, because I
Yes,
was texting you,
Preston
John,
Smith.
set the edge. And
Yeah,
he
we're
looked
screaming, we're
slow
texting,
on that
set the edge.
play, almost
Yeah.
washed up. He had 10 carries for 64 yards, 6.4
he did.
yards a carry. Seriously?
That's insane.
So their top 3 playmakers on offense, you couldn't even stop. So that's kind of my point. I was looking at some of the stats and I was looking at some of the players. I don't know. I understand the game was close, but the Chargers lost the game. If you look at some of the statistics.
Well,
Yeah, because they've done this a lot. That their team just cannot finish games and win games. They lose a lot of close games. So, but and not to take anything away from the Packers,
right.
they played really well. But do you have a defensive player of the game?
Yeah. So can I give an honorable mention?
Sure.
Can I just do an honorable mention?
Go right ahead. Yep.
Corey Ballantyne. I like this kid. I think he played and still plays with reckless abandon, and he now that's good and that's bad. But he's never phased. Like, a couple times, well, more than a couple times, he got burned, and he was like, okay, right back up. Here I come. And he's always in people's faces and he's always talking, which, yeah, okay, be careful. But I just really like him because he just seems to he seems to really take over, because to be honest, I don't think my boy Jair is going to play this year, and if he does, it's going to be in a limited, and he probably get hurt again. So you need somebody who has that brashness and could do, he just needs a little more skills. But I'd give honorable mention. And my other honorable mention would be Kenny Clark. So Kenny Clark, yes, he
Yes.
batted down the fourth down. Okay, he did that. And also he caused the fumble in the
fumble.
red zone
Ecklers.
against Eckler.
Yep.
So those are my two honorable mentions.
Yep.
I didn't even know when they brought back like Isaiah McDuffie. Oh, Isaiah, buddy, I like you, but get some speed in the offseason because he just does not have speed. He's a great tackler, but oh boy, they get around him and you're like, oh no.
He's a great backup, John.
He
And
is.
his PFF grade actually hasn't been all that bad considering a lot of
Yeah.
our team's PFF grades, Pro
Yeah.
Football Focus grades. So he hasn't
I
been that
love
bad.
his heart. I love his heart out there. You can see that he's really giving it his all,
Yes.
but
Yep.
not enough.
And he does make some plays in the backfield, and he is a sure tackler, but yeah, I know. It's a speed thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a Quay
side
Walker.
note,
That's for sure.
yeah, you know
Yeah,
what?
just
I didn't even know Quay Walker was out there. He must be hurt really
Yeah,
bad
he
because
only had,
I didn't
like
even know he was out there.
yeah, I think he only had, like, 5 tackles. Usually he's got,
Yeah.
like, 10,
He normally
15.
has 10 to 19 tackles.
Yeah.
And he had
Yeah.
5. Come
Right.
on. Something's
Yep.
going on.
Yeah, they might have been rotating him in, who knows? I don't know, but I
didn't
didn't
even
notice
know.
anything that he did.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't even know he was out there
Right.
until I said, "Oh, there he is." Because you can't miss him. He's a big guy. You
Yep.
know.
So before we talk about the upcoming game, and we're
Yeah.
gonna try to get out of here within an hour,
There we go.
just a quick side note. This has to do with Jordan Love and Justin Herbert. So Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert was also selected in the first round of the 2020 NFL draft. His numbers were almost identical to Jordan Love for the game that we just played this last weekend. Packers fans, let's be realistic. Jordan Love is not Justin Herbert. Herbert has been much better statistically this year. Plus, he was thrust into starting right away and has performed admirably, like we talked about. Justin just needs a new head coach. And Staley needs to get fired. With an offensive pedigree, a new coach with an offensive pedigree and stability with his offensive position coaches, which we talked about before a little bit. John, any comment on that? So yeah, it's kind of interesting. They both came out the same year, but Justin's been starting right from the start. So this is what, his fourth year starting for them.
Yep.
So
And he just signed a huge contract in the offseason, so he's not going anywhere.
Huge.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Nobody wants that contract.
So, John, I'll let you take part 4, and I'll take a little break and let you talk for a little while.
Sounds good. Okay, so upcoming game, Thursday, 11:23, 11:30 on Fox. Ford Field, Detroit. This is insane, people. You'll never, ever hear this again. And if you do, we really suck. Detroit is 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
Wow. The over and under is 47.
Yep.
84% of the fans think the Lions will win. And the Lions are making history. And it is the first time since JFK was president that the Lions are 8-2, which is, by the way,
John F. Kennedy.
John F.
Kennedy. That's early 60s. Early 60s.
Long time ago.
Time
The Lions defeated the Bears last week in dramatic fashion, 31-26. The Bears were up 28-14 with 4:22 to go in the fourth, and the Lions then scored 17 unanswered points. Fire their coach, by the way. I think Bear fans would agree with me. And that reminds me, oh, no. We are not bringing that up, Andy.
Oh,
no.
Come on.
No.
Let's do it. I tricked you, John, didn't I?
No.
I tricked
All
you.
right. NFC Championship game against the Seahawks, Suckhawks. By the way, that's a conspiracy. I don't believe that happened. So the Bears still suck. They're 3-8. I was so worried we were going to lose this game that I go, we can't be tied with the Bears. We just can't. So the Vikings losing are now 6-5. The Lions are running away with the division, 8-2 to capture their first NFC North crown in 30 years.
3 decades.
So Lions fans, let's put it this way. If your child was born 30 years ago, this is the first time that they can hold their head up high and say, guess what? So the Lions are offensive juggernaut. That's what I've said about their offensive coordinator is the hot girl in school right now. Everybody wants him. They're 6th in points scored, 27.2, second in yards per game, 420.9, 6th in pass yards per game, 274.3, 5th in rushing yards per game, 136.6. They have skill position players, all over the place, which, duh, if you suck so long, you got to get it right. Wide receiver Antonio St. Brown, a great player. I love this kid. He's a great player. Former Bears running back David Montgomery. He's back from leg injury. First round running back Jahmyr Gibbs, speed to burn. Second round tight end Sam Laporta. I like Sam Laporta, but he's from Iowa, which is a tight end factory. Here's the thing about him. I still think Luke Musgrave is better. That's my opinion. I still think he's better. Anyway, but Laporta's doing very well.
Yeah, I wish, John, that we would have drafted the other St. Brown.
Yeah,
St. Brown.
I know.
Instead of Equiminius.
Coulda, shoulda. We should have got him. He was there.
That was
Jared Goff has been very good again this season with a 96.1 quarterback rating. The offensive line is very well balanced and efficient in both run and pass game. The Lions defense is okay. They give up about 23 points a game, which is 22nd in the league. Even the Packers defense is ranked higher at the 20.2 per game.
Yes.
The 6'7" tall and the second pick of the 2022 draft, defensive lineman Aiden Hutchinson is a game record on defense. By the way, Detroit fans, you better pay him or you're screwed. You are so screwed if you do not pay this guy. He will have to be accounted for. He has 1.5 sacks against us. He was a wrecking machine.
Last time.
We read the stat line. And I can't remember the stat line, but Andy and I were laughing because we couldn't believe this guy had like sacks and forced fumbles and tackles for loss. He was destroying us. And I'm just like, oh boy. So the Packers, according to Bill Huber of Sports Illustrated, the Packers are as close to a spot in the 2023 playoffs as to a top 5 pick in the 2024 NFL draft. The Packers are now 4-6 and at number 9 with 7 teams with 4 wins. The draft order is, of course, fluid. The Packers zoomed all the way from 11th to 8th in the NFC playoff rankings. What do you think of that, Andy?
We're 8th in the NFC playoff rankings. Yes.
Crazy.
Yep.
So with the Packers winning and the Vikings losing, Vikings.
I figured I'd mention that again. Yeah.
Yeah. The Packers are the only a game and a half out of the final playoff spot. The teams near or ahead of the Packers in the playoff battle for those last wild card spots all lost. So like
all of them.
The Commanders, the Bucks, the Rams, the Vikings, the Suckhawks, all lost. So there's no bad news.
Nope.
We've had a perfect week for the Packers playoff chances.
Yes.
So now I will switch this to you. Any thoughts on the Packers? It's a short week. Young team. What do you think?
I like what I'm seeing from some of your younger players. So I hope they continue that trend upward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm liking what I'm seeing, especially on offense. I think our defense has got to step up though, because we're gonna have to cover some of those guys and stop the run, and they're going to be again on Ford Field turf, right?
Yeah.
So we better play fast and we better make tackles, otherwise they're going to be running all over us.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Yeah.
Prediction time, Andy.
Yeah, I've got the Lions winning, John, 37-23 over the Packers. So my thoughts on that
Yeah, go ahead.
is that the Lions scored 31, 20, 42, 26, 31 points at home in 2024, which is about 30 points a game. And I think they're actually going to, because they've really been trending up, I think they're going to score more than that against us. So I got them at 37. The Packers, away from Lambeau, have scored 38, 24, 13, 17, and 19, which averages out to about what their average is, 22 points a game. So I've got them scoring a little bit more than that, and I've got them scoring 23 points because I think Anders Carlson is probably going to kick like 3 field goals. So I've got them losing to the Lions. I said that even before the season started. I just think on a short week, I think they're going to lose, and I've got them going down 37-23. I was totally wrong about last week.
We were totally wrong.
We were both totally wrong, and we were not right. We were wrong, and we were happy that we were wrong.
Well,
and
we love being wrong. We love being wrong.
Yeah.
So the Lions are going to win this game, unfortunately. And my prediction is Lions 31, Packers 24. I am excited about one thing. Jared Goff had, I think, 3 interceptions, but they had like 4 turnovers, and they won the game, which is good and is bad. Now, remember, usually if you have more than 3 turnovers a game, you're going to lose that game. Usually, not all the time, but I would say 80% of the time you're going to lose that game. I could be off on all the stats, but if the Packers, this is a big if they get to Jared Goff, which Andy and I said in the first game when we played the Lions,
they could
get Jared Goff off his spot, you harass him all game long, you knock him around, you have a chance. But if you don't, this is going to happen. 31 or 37 points are going to be, or more, are going to be scored against you. So,
and you are correct, John. 4 turnovers last game against the Bears.
And still won that
Goff
game.
had 3 interceptions.
3 interceptions.
Yep.
Yeah. So
you are correct.
Now, if we do that, if we get 3 interceptions, I don't know. I give us a chance. You're saying there's a chance. So, all right. So, very interesting fact. Andy, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I forgot to bring this up last time, so I figured I'd bring it up. The Steelers, who beat the Packers 2 weeks ago, are the first team. Very interesting. They're the first team since 1940 to have a winning record despite being outgained in each of their first 9 games of the season. Make that 10 games now. Cleveland outgained them 259 yards to 249 yards, John. So it actually might be, that might not be accurate, but it's been a long time since a team has done that. And so now it's 10 games in a row that they have not outgained their opponent and have a winning record. So the Steelers, I believe, are 6-4 right now.
Yeah, 6-4.
So John, if we could have won that game a couple weeks ago against the Steelers just over a week ago, the Packers would be at 500. Remember, we had that question you asked me, can we get to 500? We would have been at 500. We would have been 5-5. You wouldn't even have to say, ask me that question.
No.
So the question is, are we going to be 500 at the end of the season? Are we going to be 8-9, 9-8? If we can get to 9-8, we got a distinct possibility we might make the playoffs. So, yeah.
All right, buddy.
So
that's awesome. So take us home.
Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this 50th episode up. I'm ecstatic that my sons, Zach and Nolan, had a great time at the Packers game yesterday at Lambeau Field. It was heartwarming for me to see the happiness and excitement they both had. I'm afraid that this Thursday that the Packers are going to be gobbled up by the 8-2 Lions. In fact, the Lions are going to rip the stuffing out of them. John, Packers fans, those are references to Thanksgiving, succulent turkey meat, and ferocious lions. So, John, happy 50th episode. John, Packers Blitz fans, Packer fans, and everyone out there, have a very joyous and merry Thanksgiving, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy the game anyway. Enjoy the football because you never know. But anyway, again, listen to us at your favorite podcast sites, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and rate us 5 stars. Hit subscribe, and of course, go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!
Later, buddy. Love you. Have a happy Turkey Day.
You too, John.